Thank you. I don't think I have to talk now. I think we don't, She said everything I had to say. So Oliver is a stage play, and it's a movie, and it comes from a book called Oliver Twist, written by Charles Dickens. And in the beginning of the movie, the opening scene, Oliver is selected by his table mates in the orphanage workhouse to go up and ask for more food. And so you see him with these little empty bowl and trembling hands going up to Mr. Brumble and going, "Please, sir, may I have some more?" And of course, there's this big hurrah scene, and he gets chased all over the place. And the end result is he doesn't get any more, and he gets sold into servitude because he asks for more. So you might think that his request had been unanswered by the universe. But by the end of the movie, he has gained a family. He's had all of his physical needs taken care of. And he is living a life that he never could have imagined simply because he asked for more. So we too can have our lives transformed by the words, "Thank you, more please." You see, "Thank you, more please" is shorthand for the practice of gratitude expressed through our creative power. They are simple words, but they open the door to God's abundance just to flow into our lives. The practice of gratitude is the practice of focusing our minds on the things that we truly appreciate. The things that are wonderful, that are positive, that are empowering. These feelings can come to us wrapped in many different outer forms. But the feelings that gratitude creates in our life are what we desire most for our life. And being human, it can be challenging, to say the least, to be grateful for blessings around us because our brains have evolved not to scan for blessings, but to scan for threats. Threats in the environment, dangers. The oldest part of our brain, the limbic system, is designed to discover all the potential threats that live in the environment so that it can respond in order to save one's life. And it responds by either fighting or running away, fleeing. Now, this hyper-awareness of scanning your environment for what was harmful, dangerous, was really an evolutionary driver that brought us to where we are today. And while it was originally a blessing, in today's world where our threats are not external and not living in the environment ready to pounce on us with tooth and claw, it has become a spiritual handicap. You see, our subconscious cannot look for blessings and threats at the same time. Jesus, our brother and our way shower, spoke to this idea 2,000 years ago. And it was captured in several of the Gospels, and I want to read what he said. And this comes from the Sayings Gospel, the Gospel of Thomas. Jesus said, "A person cannot mount 2 horses or bend 2 bows, and a slave cannot serve 2 masters. That slave will honor the one and offend the other, end quote. So what I hear Jesus sharing is that our minds cannot hold two opposing thoughts or two opposing beliefs at the same time. So if our subconscious mind is constantly scanning for dangers, for threats, we will find them, even if we have to create them. So a practice of looking for danger finds dangers. And the converse is also true. A practice of looking for blessings finds blessings. And we are either looking for things that empower us, things that we can be grateful for, or we are looking for and finding threats and dangers to be fearful of. It's our choice. So how do we make this shift from looking for threats to looking for blessings? So spiritual author Cindy Wigglesworth, in her book, SQ21, which is a book about spiritual intelligence, says that we practice gratitude by reframing how we perceive the world. And I want to read a quote from her. She says, when the ego is the director, it tends to look for the high drama, high conflict parts of the story. What is bad? Who is mean? And who is to blame? But when the higher self is in charge, it looks to find what is right, what is good in all of the people and all of the parts of this set of circumstances. It looks for something to be grateful for, end quote. So Wigglesworth goes on to illustrate this idea of reframing the world by using a painting metaphor. So some of you may be artists that use the paint medium. Most of us take pictures with our phones, so all of us can probably adapt to this idea. But she says that when you're doing a painting, and it's especially if it's a large painting, and she says, say it's a 20 by 30 inch painting, and you've got it almost done, and you stand back to look at it, to see what it looks like, and it's really uninspiring. So the typical reaction is to just take that painting off the easel, go put it in the corner, and never look at it again. Because who wants to be uninspired? But she says, if you will take a smaller mat, so like an 8 by 10 or even a 5 by 7, and you use that on the painting, and you shift it around, and you look at the painting as a very small area, why, you might find a segment that works. And so she says, and I'm quoting her, in her book, she says, usually some segment of the painting jumps out. Wow, this is great. If I just touch up this little bit, it will be a fantastic smaller painting. And you find the best part of the painting and you cut away the rest. You focus on what is good. End quote. So coming back to how our minds work. When we are looking for the threats or who is to blame, we are looking at an uninspired world. But when we can say thank you, we are using gratitude to reframe the world, to find something for us to be grateful for. And we allow our mind to focus through that lens of gratitude, and we transform the world from a world of threat into a world of wonder and blessing. So an example of reframing the world comes from the playwright Eugene O'Neill. And he has shared an experience he had of connecting to a star-filled nighttime sky. And I want to quote what he said. He said, for a moment, I lost myself actually lost my life. I was set free. I dissolved in the high, dim-starred sky. I belonged without past or future, within peace and unity and a wild joy, within something greater than myself, to life itself. End quote. So Eugene O'Neill's gratefulness was literally great fullness. In the moment of oneness with the divine, we are filled with a great fullness of fully accepting the whole of all that is. We are fully one with the whole universe and with divine spirit. Now, unity is always known that giving thanks was a spiritual practice that opened the doors to that constant good flowing through the universe and into our lives. Martha Smock, a unity minister who served as the editor for Daily Word for 33 years, wrote in her book, Halfway Up the Mountain, quote, "Praise and thanksgiving keep open the channels through which God's good flows to us freely and bountifully." End quote. And so I want to share a daily word published 12 years into Martha Smock's 33-year editorship. And this is from April 28, 1956. The word for the day was gratitude. And the affirmation, I am grateful for every blessing in my life. I live in a constant spirit of gratitude to God for the many blessings He has showered upon me. There is so much to be thankful for. The few inharmonies are nothing in comparison to the hundreds of blessings that come to me from every direction. Even when apparent adversity seems to take the upper hand, I pause for a moment and express gratitude for whatever lessons this adversity contains. When I express such gratitude for the opportunity to learn and grow strong, those things which seemed obstacles become stepping stones to greater freedom. O Heavenly Father, fill my heart with gratitude. Increase my capacity to be grateful to Thee. Help me realize that as I am continually grateful for what I do have, however small or inadequate it may seem, this gratitude keeps the channels of my being open to Thy infinite reservoirs of good. And I end that daily word. I am grateful for every blessing in my life. Thank you. The second part that connects to our thank you is the more please. And more please is another way to describe the creative power of thought. What we co-create for our lives comes from what we focus on in our lives. Now, that's a well-known idea that probably every single one of you understand, but it bears repeating. What we co-create for our lives comes from what we focus on in our life. When we live from an habitual focus of what we fear may harm us, we create more to fear. If instead we live from a practice of gratitude, we create more of what we are grateful to receive. So I ask, what are you grateful for? And I want you to take a moment, and I want you to connect to those things that bring you joy and love and peace and happiness. They probably look different for each one of us. But what are you grateful for? And I would love to hear your response. So if you're willing, just raise your hand or simply call out what you are grateful for. Unity, all right? Music. Children. Family and friends. Life. Sunshine. Warm weather. So when I was thinking for myself, I am grateful for my wife, Edna, who, when I come home, gives me this huge, long hug. I am grateful for sitting in prayer in the silence with you. I am grateful for having my family gather around a table and join together eating. How powerful it is to create our lives from visions of gratitude. Thank you. More, please. You see, we always have a choice of creating from our gratitude or from our fear. And if we are to make the conscious choice to create from gratitude, we need to start being aware of what we can be grateful for. And one powerful way to do this is to remember what has blessed us in the past. This idea of what has blessed us in the past lies at the very heart of appreciative inquiry practice. And today I want to share some of the blessings and some of the meanings that have been shared in the ongoing appreciative inquiry that we started here back in September. You may have been interviewed. You may have interviewed others and listened to their stories about how they connected with unity and how unity was meaningful to them. Some of the people that responded to how they found unity were in a life crisis when a friend would say, "Why don't you check out unity? It might be helpful. It might serve you." And when they came in the door, they felt welcomed without judgment, unconditionally loved, and they started their healing. Some of the interviewees spoke to feeling a lack in their lives and wanted to find a way to connect to their spirituality. And what they found here was a spirituality that would nurture them wherever they were on their spiritual journey. Here they found an inclusive, welcoming, diverse community where they could grow into their true self. Another question in the appreciative inquiry asked what were the core values or the blessings most experienced by the interviewee here at Unity of Louisville. And I want you to listen to some of the answers. United in our love for each other. Loving, caring, generous souls. Being in the flow of giving and receiving. No separation. No judgment. Forgiveness. Equal treatment for all, oneness, diversity, acceptance, belonging, spiritual growth, connection, With all our differences, we share and learn together, work together, eat together. So many blessings. And over and over and over, these common core values were identified. Acceptance, spiritual growth and transformation, connection and community, non-judgment, unconditional love and kindness. This is how we reframe the world, through the values that live in unity of Louisville. Acceptance, spiritual transformation, connection of community, non-judgment, and unconditional loving kindness. Thank you. More, please. I want to seal this idea of using gratitude as the lens for what we create with our thought from my personal spiritual work, which is A Course in Miracles. This comes from the workbook, Lesson 123. The affirmation is, I thank my Father for his gifts to me. We sing the song of thankfulness today in honor of the self that God has willed to be our true identity in him. Today we smile on everyone we see and walk with lightened footsteps as we go to do what is appointed us to do. I thank my Father for his gifts to me. And I end that reading. You are a child of light in human form. We release the lens of fear, and we willingly say yes to seeing a world defined by gratitude. And as we hold the feeling of gratefulness in our hearts and remember our blessings, we affirm, thank you, more, please. Say that with me. Thank you, more, please. One more time. Thank you, more, please. Namaste.